All right, let's not burn the garage down. I hope you're okay. This bacon was sitting in my car for probably a good half hour.
Just on the way over?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Now,
fine.
also the eggs, they've been sitting out for a while. And by a while, I mean at least a week. But I mean, I've been eating them, and we're fine. So, I think we'll be okay. Oh yeah, a little bacon sizzle. Them jet boils ain't no joke.
Yeah, you know JetBoil.
Oh
You
yeah,
been out?
I'd do some hiking. I haven't done like any long treks, but just like maybe an overnighter or two.
Yeah.
Look at that yolk, buddy.
That's yellow. Wow.
This might stick. This,
High likelihood.
but just wherever you can get them. There's a lady at our church that has a farm and has chickens. Just grab them from her. But oh, dude, they're so good. You wouldn't think that like people make fun of granola people.
Sure.
I guess we're called, right?
Sure.
Like organic, farm raised, like free range stuff, right?
Natural boys.
But I'm telling you, you eat one of these eggs next to like a grocery store, like store bought egg, night and day
Oh,
difference.
no comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just so much fattier and delicious. Well, we're also
Yeah.
cooking it in bacon grease right now, so they're gonna be amazing.
It sounds like food in your life, like you just keep it simple,
Yeah,
as a part of your
I don't like to overthink it.
right. And in general, like it's kind of like you.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess I think I tend to default to overthinking, so I tend to try to like curate my life in a way that I don't need to do it
Yeah.
as much.
Yeah.
So,
fair.
yeah, I'm like I probably have the same. I'm telling you, I'm wearing these black pants right now, these black jeans and a black t-shirt. I've probably worn the same outfit like the last 5 days.
Even that is its own thing you're having to design. Even if it is simple, it's still designed. Even if
Yeah, that's true. Even if you like my website, I'm just like, it's just, first of all, hate designing websites. It's like so tedious, and then you take all this time to do it, and then you look back at it 3 weeks from then, and you're like, I actually hate this.
yeah,
And then you're like back to square one. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it as simple as possible. So even if I have to revise it,
yeah,
it's not much I have to like pull apart and like restructure, you
Right.
know?
yep,
It's simple. Just keep things simple. Yeah. Part of being an artist where you're creating your work and you get to a point where you're proud of like some of it, right? And you're like, yeah, like I deserve these clients, or I deserve this type of work, or I deserve to be paid for this or whatever, right?
Right.
There's like this sense of pride,
yeah,
right? But like it's tricky because you fall into that, and then along with that pride, right, you feel like you deserve things, but you almost feel in a way it's like it should just be handed to you.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I fall into that trap all the time.
yep. You watch other people who are potentially even. This is the part of creativity that I think a line is worth being drawn of, like people who are not as good as you, because that exists, and we can all talk about
You are killing it.
right, and we can say, oh, we're all good, but it's like no, there are some people who take worse photos than I do, and they're doing fine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it kind of sucks too, thinking that way, because even going down that line of thought, like thinking, you're putting yourself deeper into that pride hole.
Yeah.
You know, like that hole of pride, and just like digging it even deeper, to
Yeah.
where it's like, where is it? I deserve that. You know,
Yeah,
like look at this guy's work.
right,
He's getting consistent clients.
right.
But it's like, yeah, because he's doing the work to get the
Part you
clients.
don't want to do.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think that's the hardest part, being creative in any capacity, is like, you just want to make the stuff. You don't want to have to worry about all these other intricacies of like running a business, or
Right.
like finding the work. Oh crap.
that's all right.
Oh yeah. Look at this little. Look, I told you.
It's great. Oh my goodness, look at that light
Little.
leak.
You got one right there beside you. I don't know if you can see it from your.
Can't.
It's just like one little ray.
You know what? That's interesting. I'm gonna go somewhere for a moment. Isn't it cool? So we can both see this light pouring in. But if you were to stand in that light,
Do you want me to?
You wouldn't see it.
Oh right, yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Perspective.
So like people can see light upon you, but maybe when you're in the light, you can't.
See it as clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
It's kind of a pain in the ass, actually.
I saw something this morning that
Last time you've had a photo shoot? Never?
Never. This is very uncomfortable.
What do you feel when the camera comes up?
Just awkward.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do to have fun today. So the easiest way we can do that is getting comfortable through our body language, right? So let's calibrate real quick. Wave at me over here. Over here. Perfect. We're ready. Let's go for a little lean this way. Notice how we go from up here real quick to relaxing onto this just a touch.
That's like really. That's actually love that. That
right?
that also kind of sparked a memory of mine from just this past weekend,
Oh yeah.
which is, I think being uncomfortable, right? Well, maybe not even like uncomfortable, but just not confident can also be. I feel like people might mix those two feelings up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. It's like, no, you're just not confident, you know? And, or not even confident, or, I mean, it's just like, it's probably a mix of all sorts of feelings that are making you feel uncomfortable in any given situation, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say like the biggest consequence of feeling uncomfortable is kind of just being very internal
Yeah.
and closed off,
Right.
right? And I think I'm definitely a very internal person, and I don't want to completely say that's my fault, but it's somewhat my fault.
Meaning
I would actually blame a lot of like our phone use and social media stuff, and like just constant distraction and like
yeah.
entertainment as like creating more of an internal world as
It's not making
opposed
it
to
easy.
like
Yeah.
living in it, right? But that reminded me, like, as far as body language, not even just body, but like the way you're positioning your body, the way you're moving your body
Yeah.
in reality can make you more or less internal or external, like actually being present and like being more confident. And
Yeah.
something I noticed the other day was I was down at Loch 12, like swimming around and that sort of thing, like cliff jumping or whatever.
Is this a space where you can do that, or is it like a
Well,
is
no,
its own quarry?
this is a space that I've like been to before for like hiking, but I never like actually went swimming in like the swing holes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So this was like a first time experience,
Okay.
right? And I remember, well, it wasn't until after a specific scenario when I was there, which was the first cliff jump, right, of the day, which took me a second, right? Because that's like a huge,
Yeah.
you got to get out of your head
Yeah.
to allow yourself to jump off
how
a
high
cliff.
you think you are?
Oh, it's probably like, I'd say 30 feet maybe. But even then, I'm just like so internal, and you live this life that's so comfortable. Even just like jumping 30 feet into water is like kind of jarring,
Yeah.
right?
It's fair.
And it was after that. It was after the fact that I actually did jump, which we almost messed it up. We almost didn't push off far enough, but it was fine. After the jump, I noticed that like the rest of the day, I was so much more enthusiastic, so much more external,
Yeah.
like being more present and like enjoying myself
Yeah.
and like the company of the people I was in, like with. Whereas before that, it was just very like kind of wading in the water, not really talking much, being internal.
Yeah.
And so then it's like you allow yourself to actually recognize your body again. And then for whatever reason, that gets you out of your head.
Recognize your body, like, because hitting that water creates. I'm in this thing. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're just like, I don't know how I want to describe that. That's something I noticed was I did this thing and pretty much directly afterwards, I just am way less like uncomfortable.
Yeah. Do you think a cheap way to describe that would just be like a rush of dopamine?
Cool. Yeah, it could be. But like a
No, but I
real,
think
like a
that's
real,
Like,
a,
I think that's like, someone could say that, but I think that's a not full answer.
sure. And I mean, I'm sure that's a part of it, but like that sense of dopamine, as opposed to just like the little hits you get off of scrolling through like Instagram reels or something, is like
Yeah.
way more like potent
Yeah.
and like
Real.
real.
Because
than
dopamine's
just,
a real feeling. It's not a social media construct.
Right.
It's a real feeling.
I
we
feel like
experience.
social media, you're just like artificially extracting that feeling.
Yeah.
So it's not what it actually could be.
Right.
And then when you go actually live your life and experience those things,
Yeah.
it's just incomparable. You can't compare it to
Right.
anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are you in your cliff jumping?
Mm.
Are you putting that in like a weekly thing now? Like I need to, like, cause you had the experience, you know the cliff is fine and you're going to land in the water and you know you're going to feel this way. Like you have this new brick of cliff jumping is great. And I feel great afterwards. When you get up to your next cliff, are you still going to
Still jump?
take a moment?
Oh, before jumping?
Yeah.
Well, probably. Just a little one.
Just-
You just got to build up the confidence
Yeah.
to do it.
Right.
But I feel like that's anything.
Yeah. But you did that recently. Like you went out.
Just a couple days
After-
ago.
Well, I just take it to life. You went out after a job loss and jumped off a cliff and went to Chicago.
I'm not going to lie. That wasn't like my decision.
Okay.
I mean, it was like I decided to go do that and I paid for the things, blah, blah, blah. But it also is like, if it wasn't for other people in my life, like, not trying to convince me, but like that know me well enough that we're like, you would benefit from this. You just need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have never went.
Sure.
So that's also a factor.
Sure.
But that's the same thing as like the cliff jumping thing. The people there, just
Yeah,
like
you went there by
egging-
yourself.
Yeah, like you had people there egging you on, even like strangers,
Yeah.
So that's like a huge aspect of it too, especially like the video you just showed me. He wasn't going to just make himself uncomfortable
Right.
or make himself more comfortable in that scenario. He was already like, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's all. That's how it's going to be for
Right.
the duration of this shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the guy was like, okay, this
He
is
set
what,
his camera down.
yeah, he's like, we're people.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Like, here's some tips.
Yep.
Here's how we're going to get you uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, people need that. Well, people need people. So,
So this is my wheel of creativity.
all right.
I need a way better name,
Okay, we'll figure something out.
but you're the first person that I brought it out with.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
Yeah, buddy. This show's in development, my friend. We're working on things, trying games, trying to find our sweet spot. And on this board are some of the favorites that we've done so far. Each game means a little something, and I want so bad for this board to land on hot takes
Monster
with you.
voice, bro. I want monster voice so bad.
All right, give her a spin. Let's see what we're doing. What we get?
Scribs. 6 cents. Scribbles. That's a
60 second. Oh yeah, 6-second scribbles.
Scribs.
No scribs. See, we should call it scribs. I'm gonna take that. That's the new name for it. You gotta have branded stuff. Wow, I thought that looked so much better, and now it looks horrendous.
We're already at a minute and 40, bud. Or
What?
No, we're
Oh,
at a minute.
shoot.
I was reading that upside down.
When
I
was-
didn't get the last one.
I spent way too much time on. Way to go! All right, so let's just keep them up like this so that the top-down camera can see it as well. And then, so I'm gonna go through and guess. House rules. I've come to play it as I give you this topic up here,
Okay.
because
That'd be nice. Just going in blind would be a little difficult.
Yeah. All right. So we have banana, cherry, apple, pineapple, strawberry. Hold on. We have pear, grapes, and that little tip on that matters. But what?
I tried. They gave me like two that are like look very, I'd say similar.
Sometimes oranges have little tips like that.
Ooh.
So I'm going orange.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy here, I mean, that is an interesting shape.
I messed him up pretty good. Let's see if you get
So
it.
is it fruits? Is it fruits and
Yeah, it's
veggies?
just fruits.
Fruits. It's not a kiwi.
No, unfortunately.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm out.
It's supposed to be a lemon.
Nope.
And it's definitely a lemon
Well done.
in the, retail world.
Sure. You simplified things. You made things very simple. You chose an instrument that
That's all you could do.
pushed you to simplify.
It's 1 minute, bro.
Oh, so that one's fun. This is a deep.
This or
The one just
before?
behind there. My kids. Not to make it about me, but I asked you. The prompt is like, ask someone at least 10 years younger than you how to solve a current problem you're going through.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then draw like what would be the outcome of if you followed their advice, what would that look like? Draw that outcome. And I asked my kid, what should daddy do to help the family? And Praise said, my oldest, who's 5, said, work. One word,
Dang.
work. So then
I don't feel like that's what you expected.
in many ways of having this like provider, I want to get out there and get after it. I'm like, glad she said that because
Yeah.
like daddy does need to do a lot of that stuff right now. And I do need to double down, or even if, even to the point where if I have a free moment, I feel so obligated to even convert that into like $15 an hour in some way, door dashing, or like my body when I'm in motion needs to be generating dollars. And I get that this is gonna take me into a space, but it's like I so much don't believe in that. But when you're in a hole, you gotta do your absolute. You owe it to your creativity. You owe it to your community. You owe it to the people you care about to get out of that hole. Like,
Yeah.
and to not. Because the best you is on the other side of all of that weight and the depression of it, or the anxiety, all those feelings. So you can just, but it's bothering me, or it's like you can accept that weight and say I can't get out of this, or screw hustle culture, because I would say screw hustle culture, like that's, but I do need to be moving because we're in such a bad spot that if I don't, we're gonna be here for a very long time.
Yeah. I think just any consistency is like all you need. Like, yeah, the hustle culture thing is like huge, but
Sure.
it doesn't mean you need to be doing something productive
Sure.
like every waking hour of every day.
Yeah, and
Like actually I just had I was like reading The Artist's Way, and like one of the aspects of while you're reading that, you're supposed to do these things called morning pages.
Yeah.
Which is like writing 3 full pages of like free flow thought.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a mouthful. Every morning. And it's at first it's weird, but like I think after there, I skipped some days obviously, but like for the most part was like pretty consistent about it. And
I remember you were showing me
within-
your book. It was very full.
Yeah, and within like I think 4 months or something, I like filled an entire like journal out that was like, essentially the size of like a regular book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I got to the last page and filled all of it out, I was like, dude, I basically like wrote a whole book.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of nonsense in there, but
Yeah.
I filled out an entire notebook from front to back, and it literally took me like 10 to 15 minutes
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
And completing that, I'm like, yeah, you don't have to do a lot. You just have to do a little bit every day.
Yeah.
Or most days.
Yeah.
And then you will make progress.
Yeah.
So I feel like you just got to figure that balance out.
Yeah.
That was my like awakening moment of like, oh, I don't have to actually like put this pressure on myself of I need to be in like production mode.
Right.
9 hours a day.
Right. Yeah.
To like do these things. I feel like if anything that's detrimental because then that can kind of overwhelm you and then make you a little more stagnant.
I'm happy, Praise. Like that was a cool answer because for me, I just drew a home that we're trying to purchase this fall, but have no, like there's just no way outside of a literal move of God or like, something that is like, because I don't have the money. Like even if the home was 150,000, like to put a down payment, I don't have that. And there's always like first time home buyer stuff, but then even if you get in there, I couldn't afford that mortgage. Like,
Right.
Sorry, man, for stealing that for a moment. I wanted to get into kind of the things that you've been about on YouTube and not.
Oh boy,
I'm not calling you out.
YouTube.
I am. What I'm not doing is this is not a calling out thing. It's you wanted to talk about.
That's
these
fine. We could call each other out when it comes to that.
Yes, we can.
We both are guilty.
We lit our matches at the same time, and then
And they pretty much blew out at the same time. It was funny too because we were like, "Yeah, dude, this is great." And then
by August.
yep,
For me, I
which
came.
probably,
Yeah,
but
it could.
we didn't keep the match lit.
Well, let's get it back in. So for me, what a great sentence. I got to a point of vulnerability where I felt naked and ashamed again. I truly got to this point where it was a thing I didn't want to push past, and I could catch myself saying words that didn't feel authentic, or I knew I was caging or keeping something in. So, yeah, I put up another wall, and I didn't want to push through it. That's simple.
Look, I get it.
Yeah.
I've thought about that too, where, like I've had people, whether people in person or people I don't know, right, reach out to me, like, hey, found you on YouTube, or
Yeah.
and they're like, appreciative.
Yeah.
They're like, I guess something you said like really resonated with me, blah blah. And it's like, that is cool. That feels good.
Sure.
But then I'm like, I know that as vulnerable as these videos I've made can be, they're curated vulnerability. It's like, we're not letting the floodgates open here.
Can I ask you why?
Well, I'd say that's kind of how I am just in, I guess, real life. I'm not like, it is genuine, but it's not, if that makes sense. Like in real life, I'm the same way. Like I open up to an extent, or I'm vulnerable to an extent, but I'm also very aware of the fact that I could be way more vulnerable than I allow myself to be. And that's the same in the videos I've made. I think there's also a aspect of where I'm aware of that, and I feel like I know that I definitely probably should be more vulnerable as a person, but I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with not like keeping some things to yourself or like close individuals.
Totally.
Like you almost need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But there's also that, you need to be aware of like, am I being vulnerable enough?
Sure.
That
Yeah,
is
when it paints a different picture, I think you like truth. I think you like things being accurate, and potentially when vulnerability is part of that telling an accurate story.
right.
But at the same time, you, as a storyteller, one of my favorite drawing teachers. Let's bring it back to drawing. He would draw. I'm gonna make this really simple. A home. It's pretty lightweight, like sketching kind of a thing. But then there'd be these moments that he like leans in and he makes known, like that's focus here because this is where the story is. This is what's happening. It's over here, like it's on this corner, or like he would really emphasize that point, and it would help drive like your attention, like it's showing you where to look.
Right.
It's a really poor expression, but
I don't know. I mean, I feel like no matter who you are, like in reality,
even that's wrong.
even that's wrong. Like you can have I mean, your perception of yourself can be skewed, just like other people's perceptions of you
Yeah.
are skewed by
Yeah.
biases, by whatever it is. Just there's a million different variables. I think it's just that you just have to like put the work in of consistently, I guess, checking yourself and like at least trying to understand
Yeah. Who? What this meat suit is all about.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. So I wrote down, we talked about perfectionism, and a line that you said in one of your videos is, I want to stop living under this, or I want this to stop controlling me.
Mm.
Tell me about that.
Well, I mean, I guess as an artist, like whatever your expression is, you want it to be good, or like be perceived as good, not only by others but you yourself want to perceive whatever you're making as good.
Yeah.
And I get that's good, right? Like you don't want to like you're just purposely making bad stuff.
Sure.
Nobody's doing that.
Sure.
I mean, well, I'm sure there's somebody doing it, but
Or pushing through the bad stuff, maybe.
yeah. I'm trying to think of where I want to go with that.
So to me, it was like this cap. Like Chris existed inside this bottle,
Sure.
and perfectionism. I can't. From
Right.
the inside
Well,
of this
you
bottle,
can't.
you
First
can't
of all,
twist
you're
it.
not. Yeah. I mean, first of all, you got to get over the fact that you're not going to reach that.
Sure.
Ever, not ever, forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it can also be used as like an excuse sometimes to not create.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's not going to be perfect, so why even start? You
Yeah.
know?
Well, our brains are like 12 steps ahead of us in taste versus action. Like what we can produce is always like 10, 15 steps beyond what we can physically produce. And
Yeah.
then like that has to be a good
Well,
thing.
and then here's the thing too is whatever you would define as
Right.
perfect
Right. Isn't perfect.
is like somebody else's like, that's fine.
Right.
That's okay.
Right. Whereas
Whereas like I mean I was just scrolling through the other week I got together with somebody and they wanted to use some of like my photos, right? For some of their stuff.
good. Yeah.
And which is like my dream thing. I'm like somebody just wants to buy photos from me that
Like
I've
the ones that you've
the ones that
commissioned
I've
yourself.
that I've made myself,
Yeah.
and then like they just want them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the dream right there. It's like you just want the photos I've already created.
Huh.
That's cool. It's like a painter would be way more stoked to sell something they just created on a whim or like because it meant something to them
Mm-hmm.
than sell a commission piece because I want a portrait of my dog.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
that's so much more fulfilling because it's
Yeah.
like an acknowledgement,
Yeah.
right? And so,
Yeah.
but it's funny because, first of all, allow myself to be vulnerable because I just sat down with this person and like let them kind of just scroll through my
Mm-hmm.
like back end portfolio, like photos nobody's ever seen.
Okay.
Like some aren't even edited. They're just like sitting in the cloud, right? And it was so funny to see them like select certain images and be like, that one. And I'd be like, really? That one. But
Yeah.
so it depends. Like
Yeah.
even last night, I got a roll of film back, and I was showing Helen, and we're going through the photos, and as soon as she scrolls to this one portrait shot, I'm like, don't even look at that. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like just, completely underexposed, like
Next.
trash. She was like, I think that's the best one.
That's the one.
The best one on the roll, she said. I'm like, what? I would literally could have deleted that and like never looked at it again.
Right. But it had to be produced. It's physical. Like
Yeah.
you had to.
Yeah.
You couldn't
So
tilt your camera down, delete, move
as
on.
much as you're searching for like this perfect thing that you're trying to create, most of the time people are actually probably going to like the stuff that like you've made that you don't think is so hot,
Yeah.
which is also a weird factor in being a creative, because you're like, but I want everybody to like the stuff that I like,
My thing.
right? Like it's weird. I don't understand. I don't know how to like describe that feeling or like what the motivator behind that desire is, but it's like, well, maybe just like an acknowledgement, like you like what I like.
Sure.
There's like
Yeah.
a commonality there or
Yeah.
something, but there's also an aspect that I do appreciate when people like see a photo that I took that I'm like, this is fine, or this is trash, and then they're like, I actually love that,
Right.
and I'm like, huh,
So I do more of
Interesting.
things like this.
should I just only show stuff I don't like of mine?
That's interesting. That could be an interesting show, like
Yeah.
a collaborative show where artists put out
Stuff
their-
they think is meh. Yeah,
It's called Meh.
just called
Dude,
meh.
Helen, I'm getting goosebumps. Helen could run that. That could be, because she loves like single word. Just call it Meh.
Make sure this was facing the camera.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Hoss's
Hoss's.
Steak and Seafood. I don't have any promo codes for you, but no, like she could run. I could literally see her running an event called MEH, like period.
Yeah,
Meh.
that'd be cool.
The Meh Art Show.
Here's the problem, though, is sometimes allowing yourself to actually show the work that you think is meh is like another
You'll
level
still-
of vulnerability. Because it's like, I've shown work on like, I've made like, I remember I posted a couple weeks ago, like a little bit of a carousel on Instagram of like photos I think are meh, essentially. But even like, something about this photo I still kind of liked.
So it has to be
Right?
someone else has to select
So
it.
it's almost like somebody else has to select it for you, because you're obviously still going to have a bias of like, well, I don't want to show the stuff that as like I think is actually really not that great.
Yeah.
Right. Like I still want people to think that I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you almost have to have somebody with like an unbiased opinion
Yeah.
select the works.
And that's modern art. So that's part of, if I'm understanding the division of all the things we call art, but this idea of, maybe it's postmodern. Who the crap cares or knows? I want to know more. And I want to be, through school, like through college, I actually loved art history and I got to learn all those things. I could decipher cubism and all this stuff. Now it's, and
yeah.
anyways, so I'm being inaccurate with that, but part of the art show is that process. Like that's also part of the art of who you selected to choose yourself, a 5-year-old kid or your mom. Like, what did these two different individuals choose from my body of work? And then so listing who chose it is also part of the placard and part of the sitting back going, oh, yes, this is saying something to me. This 5-year-old selections, like versus the person at the end of life, and maybe the person at the beginning of life. This is my hypothesis. The beginning of life and end of life person choose very similar photos. Hypothesis.
Both the ones wearing diapers, choosing the same stuff.
Yeah, just because joy, abundant.
And you have a gallery called Depends, because it's just like depends on who picked it. Depends on who picked the gallery.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I think
Is it good? Depends.
depends. It's all artwork a step further made from Depends, made with Depends, made people buy,
I'm okay on those.
made by people in Depends.
Well, we can do that one. I'm not making nothing out of Depends.
It's beautiful. And then you also like, I love this, and this is the part that might feel like I'm calling you out, but we already said that about This Way too. Like, I need to get a video up there stat.
Yeah, the worst feeling though, you know what the worst feeling about it is like, I'd say like fairly consistently, you know, every couple like days or like every day depending on the week, just like emails saying like, oh, this person subscribed to you. And I'm like, and I'm not even
got nothing for you,
thanks.
bud.
I haven't even posted anything, and I don't really have a plan to post anything as of right now.
Yeah.
So then it was like, I'm like, oh man, okay, these people liked what I made. They subscribed as a way of like, oh, hopefully I can like,
More, please.
I remember this person, right?
Sure.
If I can't, I'll see them in my subscription list, right?
Yeah.
In case they post stuff, because I liked them enough to look forward to something else. And then I'm just like over here, not
Ghost.
making anything, and I'm like, we gotta get back on the ball, because then not only that, it is a little frustrating too, knowing that I like almost hit that goal that I was like looking to do or to achieve. But then I just stopped.
Sure.
And I'm like, I know, knowing for a fact, if I was just a little like with the journaling, just consistent,
Yep.
we'd probably be where I expected I was going to be by this summer.
Yep.
Here we are, still basically where I was when I started.
Sure.
I mean, a little progress, but like,
Yeah. You got more in there.
yeah,
Yeah. I think we just have to both commit and believe what people say of like making 100 bad videos. And
that's the problem too. Is like,
but these are actually kind of nice. Like you were spending time on them because we appreciate them now. I think the new way I think about that is just like burn these things out. Like I'm seeing these creators that I follow that are just kicking out videos from their car, and just the story is interesting. What they're talking about is interesting. And
Right.
yeah, like you and I both see things that are way more like your current body of videos online that are they're meditative, and they're more like the film. Like there's more like these film pieces, and like they rock you, like they make you feel something, which is, there's a story of mine that I thought was going to come out late July, and still might, but it's a lot about my personal journey, what I've been through. And so I have this like very big ideal for this video and what I want it to be and how I want it to make people feel. And I know it's not one of these videos you can just, at least to me, I don't feel like it's one you can just make turning on the camera and talking.
right.
Because I want it to be, I want some, and then you hear the ocean or
That slow build.
the buzz.
Yeah.
So we can craft these things, but it's like, ooh, check this out. Maybe this makes sense. You think you can make those videos because they're in our heads.
Right.
But presently, look at your life. I can't make that video. Like I'm trying to build the business. I'm trying to take care of the family, and then have a great relationship with my wife. Go with my kids. Like, at what cost? What would it cost to make that video? It would cost the other things that I'm building. It's like, awesome. Now you have a video that expresses your 32-year-old opinion about your hardships of the last couple of years. Now what? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, so just I keep trying to lower the bar of what a video means, and really have that perspective of making 100 bad ones, not 100 ones that I really care about, like 100 awful videos. Flip the camera on yourself and just talk
Yeah.
is my new, trying to use that to get me going again.
Yeah. It's so difficult to like allow yourself to do that too.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like-
intentionally.
I just want to make the best.
Yeah. Right. In the process of making the worst, you make the best.
Right. And even then, like most of the time, I feel like even the stuff I've posted, I don't think those videos are fantastic.
Yeah, they're
right?
not even what you're probably seeing. Like they're
Right.
underneath the creative guidelines of I had a week
Yeah.
and really a weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's also a lot. I feel like a lot of the stuff is also not super premeditated, like the scripts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like kind of figure that out, right?
Sure.
But the actual visuals have just been. It's not like they've carried the story,
Sure.
like
Yeah, a lot of your voiceover is really pushing things forward.
yeah, because there are definitely some clips where it's like an intentional shot, right?
Yeah.
Of like maybe something I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time it's just like kind of B-roll stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's where I get caught up, where it's worked, right?
Sure.
But then there's like that pressure of, yeah, but if I'm like really trying to make good storytelling videos,
Mm-hmm.
then like the video should match what the story is, right?
Potentially. But what if it is all about that, where it's more as if you're driving, like your videos aren't of landscapes and of what you would see over your steering wheel, but it feels like you're giving me a space that I would go to think in. You're showing me
Like you're just like on a road trip with the boys and you got to sit in the back and you're just like looking out the window.
the bus,
Yeah.
the field. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And your just brain's just going.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you,
Okay. But I like that.
yeah, and
That's my vibe.
right.
Yeah.
So yours don't have to be this direct match thing, because what you're sculpting and what you're finding out in your photography work is like you're giving, which is the best thing about creativity, is giving other people an entrance into your artwork, and they pick things that you wouldn't pick, and then they also have thoughts that you don't have, and you're creating a space for that to happen. You took that photo so that lady could think. I said lady, maybe it's a dude who bought your photos, so that she could think about whatever she was thinking about when she saw that, like that was for her internally in her moment. And then so with your B-roll, you're painting a canvas, it's your own gallery of, hey, look at this for 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little bit like camera shake, like you just
I think the thing too, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is even so I'm kind of using photography, right, as like a catalyst to talk about certain things.
Yeah.
Some of the videos are like photo related, but like I think another way to look at it is, like, you know, I could just be like, it's not really storytelling. It's just essentially glorified B-roll or something,
Sure.
right? But another way to look at it is it's just essentially the MP4 version of like the photos that I take,
yeah,
which is like essentially just observing,
Yep.
observing surroundings.
in that same
capturing it.
spot, toggle over and just run it for 7 seconds
Right.
and then split.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they will look different, right? Different dynamic range comes out of the camera from
Right. More
from
context and video. Yeah.
yeah. There's like 16 stops in most photography, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Most sensors, but then it kicks down to 8 in video for most cameras, right?
I don't know. I don't know how that shifts. I
Yeah.
think it depends on how you're shooting too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. If you're
Like if you're shooting like
it's very
log
sciencey,
format, or
right?
you're gonna get
And-
more out of that than like just shooting Rec 709
Right.
straight in camera.
Baking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So, what do you think is your next step? Well, I shouldn't even say it that way. Of like you, I feel like I don't want it to just turn back on when you feel like it, because if people are being served by it. But
Yeah, that's the problem too.
But
Is
it-
I'm like,
is it, if it's internal, I think we can get over it. But if you really are not feeling like a move of the spirit, if you will, it's like, I know that I'm supposed to be on there. It's not this thing of like, I know for a fact that I've been told like I need to be making these videos. Like it's part of my,
yeah,
what I give to the world. And not even that it's currently like this amazing thing, but I know that it will build up and it's supposed to be like this body of work of mine. So being in disalignment and in agreement with videos and not making them is to me a bad thing. Like,
yeah.
but to you, does it mean that to you? Is it that
Well, I
intense?
don't feel good about it, so I feel like that's probably a pretty good indicator. Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's, you know, doing the thing is work, no matter what it is, right? whether you're enthusiastic about it in the moment or not, right? But I also think I know, like, if I'm not doing it, I feel worse than if, like, I don't really feel like doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Sure.
Because once you start doing it, and you're like, oh, I'm actually having such a great time.
Right.
It's just like I don't feel like leaving the house today. And then you go out and do some things with some buddies or something, and it's like the best day ever. It's like you'd have missed that if you just stayed home.
Right.
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 Next step, though, start making videos again. Like, it's pretty much as simple as that. I think that actually kind of goes back to the having those other people around you that, like, believe in you, because sometimes it's hard to believe in yourself, right? So I feel like not for you, just me.
Just a consistent flow
of confidence.
Yes.
But yeah, it's necessary. Like, yeah, you have those people that believe in you. Like, actually, we got together with Austin a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago now or something. And we were talking about the YouTube thing.
Okay.
And he was just like, so yeah, when are you making the next video? I was like, I don't know.
Did you commit something to him?
And then he was like, he's like, we're getting together. And I was like, what? And he's like, pick a day. We're going to bust out like 2 videos. And I'm like, okay.
And
sometimes you just need that.
Yeah.
So
you got it booked?
Yeah. It's, I think it might be next week or something.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, busting out some videos.
Okay.
The worst part about it is I actually do have scripts
Okay.
like written out.
Yeah.
They just need to be like tweaked a little bit and
Sure.
like taken action on.
Yeah. I think you don't have to also enter and apologize in any way. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I think you just show back up.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. I kind of have an idea of like a topic I wanted to talk about that it's related to the gap, but like it's not like an apology for the gap.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah, you talked about scripting things in a more. Let me go this way. Are you someone like you just need ounces upon ounces of encouragement? Like that's how people can help you.
Yeah, I'm definitely somebody that will like, I'd say probably more easily succumb to their own devices as opposed to other people. So as good as solitude can be, I can only take it in like small doses.
Yeah.
So like to surround, and it's like difficult too, because like I know I need to surround myself with people more often, but like I don't tend to take the action of like putting myself in the scenarios to surround myself with people.
So it's like telling.
I'll usually just like
Yeah.
just kind of take things as they come,
Sure.
which is part of the problem.
But you need your close friends to come grab you by the t-shirt. and
Right.
rip you're coming with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So super grateful for those people because
Your shirts are going to start getting a little.
yeah, the collar's all stretched out. I gotta go buy new shirts. Yeah. The Hanes 10-pack.
So artist, we have this like the tortured artist or what the artist is up against.
Yeah.
Creatively, there's always someone doesn't just quit their job and head out into their workshop and start making chairs for no reason.
You know what I think it is? That is like, starving artists, they have all these challenges to overcome, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
I think artists just like to romanticize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have one? Do you have one that you like this thing you're up against, or do you this thing that you blow out of proportion and make this external enemy, even though like, bro, everyone struggles this way. You're just a drama queen.
Probably time. I think I have a skewed perception of time.
That you have time to complete.
I feel like I live in a paradox almost, where I feel like I don't have enough time, but I actually have so much. Like so much more than I think.
In a day to complete the things you want to.
Right. So there's like this weird, I don't have enough time. And then I don't end up actually doing anything with the time that I do have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
There's like an anxiety around it. Well, okay. So, you know, like the saying, live life like there is no tomorrow, right? I think I tend to like fall into a habit of living life like there's no today, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
You're just like, oh, days are basically over already.
Right.
Just waiting for tomorrow.
Just sign the whole thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you always been that way?
I don't think so. I think there's also like an aspect of intentionality that I lack sometimes. So, am I being intentional with the time I have? No,
Sure.
probably not. Probably not. Where if I am being more intentional with the time I have, I tend to have a better relationship with time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
There's no like dread surrounding it. It's
Right.
like, no, I'm being useful like with it.
Right.
I'm making use of it.
Right. Right.
So intentionality is probably my biggest.
Yeah. As if it was money. You have money coming in. Time shows up every morning. Where am I? What wallet? What zipper pouch am I putting this time, money into?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you budgeting? Budgeting, but for time. Yeah. How would you help a younger you who's potentially listening?
Probably just remind him, or not remind him, but like make him aware of the fact that if you continue to think that way, you'll be exactly where you won't have moved. You'll stay stagnant. I don't want to stay stagnant.
I'm going to write us off because I want to get us both on to our next engagements.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, making the time, making us breakfast.
Yeah, I forgot about breakfast
Yeah,
already.
dude. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.